if I were them, I'd recognize a good government bill when I see one and perhaps just back off.
This is brand new tonight. A Democratic lawmaker with a message to those opposing a bill he says will help small businesses. It's all tied to a Katu investigation that uncovered costly permit requirements in Portland. Good evening. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
I'm Deborah Knapp. Now, Katu investigator Wright Gasway is live with the story. Wright, it specifically covers when business owners can be forced to improve things like sidewalks.
It does. We've talked about this a lot. Governments can make businesses pay for new sidewalks or even new street corners like this in order to get a building permit. That would change in some cases if this bill passes. The new law is tied to a Katu investigation in North Portland. We found the city made Cammie Price redo a street corner and sidewalk outside her office in order to renovate the inside. Cammie says the outside work costs more than the renovation.
I wanted to cry. It was way above what they told us it was going to be, like several thousands more.
The reporting caught the attention of the Oregon Realtors Association and eventually state lawmakers.
This bill came forward as a result of some reporting that was done by K2 News.
They've been debating whether to limit government-required projects like this since early April. A new version of the legislation prohibits governments from requiring this kind of outside work for a building permit if an alteration is $150,000 or less, doesn't change the occupancy of the building, and doesn't increase the square footage. Monmouth Democrat Representative Paul Evans sponsored the bill.
Cities should actually be wanting this bill. At a point in time where confidence in government is all-time low, why wouldn't you want to take steps to help rebuild the trust reservoir? That's why I'm pushing for it. It is surprising to me that most of the frustration have come from the metro area, where I guess they just do business different than they do in the Mid-Valley.
The legislation also requires local governments to coordinate with the state if the project falls alongside a state highway. It also has an exception for projects required for federal ADA compliance. The League of Oregon Cities says it's neutral on the bill.
HB 2658 does not solve a wide-scale pervasive problem. It is based off a single circumstance in a single city that, to be fair, should never have happened, and LOC would like to express our apologies to the business owner.
The new rules will go into effect in January 2031. Now, one point about what you just heard from the League of Oregon Cities. Paul Evans tells me he's heard from other people in situations like Cammie, which would indicate this is not actually a one-off. Now, this bill has a couple more hurdles to cross in the legislative session that wraps up in a little less than 2 weeks. We'll stay on top of the progress for you. We're live in Portland. Wright Gasaway, K2 News.
Yeah, let us know, Wright. Thank you for that. And